Is this Arlene?
So
that's where the people were the other night, and Arlene's has been a problem for years, from what I understand.
So this area, Arlene is over in this area. This area was another area that was impacted was South Avenue, where the countryside or the gas station was at the Shepherd Self Storage. Right. So if you look, this is Boardman Park. Here is the water course,
Run,
and then here it crosses over, and it floods and backs up South Avenue. So all of that water then travels into the Yellow Creek area. And if you look at all of the houses that are impacted, the lots, because of the way the water flows. Newer communities that are under development, they're already under the standard of the 100-year storm. And any neighborhoods that are built, all businesses that are built, they build to this. So in areas in and around Columbus and outside of Cincinnati, this isn't a problem.
But here they already built that big retention lake behind Best Buy.
Yes.
It would have been worse the other night without that.
Without that, we would have seen some pretty heavy damage.
So really, all you ended up with was the country fair flooded.
Yes.
Okay.
So
what do you do here now?
So in this area, we know we want to do some upgrades. This is that 21 is that Best Buy retention system. Yeah. We would like to upgrade it further to be able to hold and release slowly, more slowly. And then over in this area, again, you want to do some retention because the water is coming down south and then crossing over. So if you're able to slow this down, and this is in that presidential estates area. And again, we're talking about different jurisdictions. And that's why the water district is so important. You have to work with ODOT, you have to work with the county, and you have to be able to plan those projects together so you make some good impacts.
Okay, now this is Arlene through here.
Yes, and you can see
it's wide. This is
a wide swath of, and these are all homes. All of these are homes. So we definitely want to make sure we do some projects in this area. One that was done that kind of helped the situation was the Market Street Elementary School, the Erskine, Arlene, everywhere. We put in a very large system underneath the ground.
Market Street Elementary?
At Market Street Elementary.
I didn't know that.
In fact, when I was hired, I was coming in when that project was finishing up, and it was massive. And we got permission to do this on school property. Again, the township was very limited. We could only work on property where it was public access. So, very big project, but more needs to be done. A lot of the homes in this area would be at the lowest area topographically, and some of them may need to be removed. And that's one of the questions where it was asked at the meeting, what are we going to do? I keep flooding. Well, any homeowner moving in there after would have the same problem. So if we can make some impact changes, great. But in certain cases, it makes sense to say this house shouldn't be here.
Okay. The other one was Applewood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we've I think after this we've hit every section of the township.
We have. Okay. In fact, and one of the things that I would like to point out with Applewood, it's very interesting. We went ahead and we've developed our plan for the stormwater district. This is the Austintown, Canfield, and Boardman area. One of the things that we've defined is we were looking at our tributaries, right? So we did, this was the Boardman Plaza area, right? So we knew this is the Boardman Plaza, phase 1 tributary, we needed to do an upgrade here. We actually did highlight in this the Applewood Acres area. There is retention, but not enough to make such a big impact that would stop some of the folks that were downhill. So some of these areas in Applewood Acres.
Here you got it right here. What's this? Okay, wait,
so
here's Applewood. This is Applewood in here?
Applewood Acres. Okay. I grew up in Applewood Acres, and I lived on a street, Apple Ridge Circle, where there was a death because a gentleman went to unplug some electric, and it was very sad, and he got electrocuted. That really triggered a push to fix this problem. So in Applewood Acres, there was a detention system that was developed on this side because Applewood's a very hilly area. Some of the water flows towards Yellow Creek, some of the water flows to Mill Creek Park. So what happens is some of these homes on the bend and in the low-lying areas, they're directly impacted. But a lot of the homes are up higher, and that water just gets pushed down to them. So in Applewood Acres, we had to be very specific where we would put the retention system and make sure the pipes are open. So they did put a significant one in. One gentleman spoke of that retention system at our meeting on Monday, past Monday.
Right. He said it overflows. It needs to be changed and cleaned up.
Yes. So we've gone out, we've looked at it, we made some assessments. We want to clear some of the debris around the
Where is
inlet.
That retention area?
The retention area is over by the Apple Crest court area. It's in the wooded section of
Okay.
Applewood Acres. You wouldn't see
by
it
the-
driving.
by the swim club?
Down further.
Down the hill further.
West. Further west from the swim club
Okay.
and
All right.
north.
Okay.
And we've gone back there, we've looked at it, but that was put in and helped that area. However, more can be done. So that was one of the areas here, but it was also identified in our stormwater plan as a tributary that needs to be upgraded.
Okay. Okay.
So when we formed this, we had to go to court. Okay, this district had to be approved by the judge. So all of this petition to go under the revised code to form was something that we worked with the ABC district attorney with, and we had to come up with extensive studies and areas where we wanted to make sure he had impact. So we've gone after the federal, we've gone after the state, we've gone after CDBG, we've been very thorough, we've had hydrology studies, we've talked with Tim Ryan before. So we've been with him, we've talked with him, we've given him a list of the projects. In fact, here they are. There's a bunch of the retention systems, you know, what we were looking at then to get a lot of these funded.
What year was this?
This was in 2012.
So at that point, it was what, $4.7 million?
Yeah, and that was at the time what
It's not that much money.
we
I
were
mean,
at.
I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong.
At
but
that
it's not
time, it's
100
significant.
million.
Yeah. And again, these were just some retention systems. This wasn't including expansion and changing out the storm lines that run through all the neighborhoods. Because every neighborhood has a different size pipe, a different material of pipe, and it's at a different age. We have steel, we have plastic, we have corrugated metal, and a lot of them were either put in at the 10-year or 5-year. So a lot of these were put in at a time when, if it was today, we'd be requiring a system that would accommodate a little bit more. So in Applewood Acres specifically, it's concrete pipe. And if you go in north in town, you're going to see some clay pipe. You're going to see some metal pipe. In fact, East Parkside, okay? This leads right into Mill Creek Park, East and West Parkside. We had to close down a street but 3 years ago because underneath the roadway is a metal culvert, all right? And what it would do is holds the street up and allows the water to flow into Mill Creek Park. It had degraded and rusted out so bad, we had to close the street. We wouldn't let anybody pass over. So we had to redirect our traffic, and it took us a year to get funding through OPWC to repair that that culvert. We were lucky because that's something that was underneath our roadway. If this is on your private property, the township can't come in and fix that problem. That's
But
why
ABC can,
ABC
right?
can. So that's why we're desperately trying to get funding. We're trying to get it up and running.
What kind of money would you like?
If
I mean, realistically now, the ultimate is 100
Sure.
million. Well, it was 100 million in 2003.
if we were able to collect, like I said, around $1 million or $700,000, $800,000, and then apply that towards grants and get maybe double or 1.5 times, that would allow us to do some very, very substantial impacts to our watershed area. Because we would stretch it out, we base it on priority, and we would really do everything.
That would be a combination of
Yes.
retention ponds, of
Upgrades.
piping upgrades, and eventually maybe some home removal as well.
Yes.
So those are three things.
Those
we're
are the
looking
big
at?
three things we'd be looking at. And we'd also be making sure that we go in and we scope the lines as well to make sure that they're open, and that if we are seeing some decay, that we can put them on a priority list and really say, okay, we've looked at the township, we know the age, we know what we want to replace, and we have a replacement plan. And it's just like a home, you got to make sure your roof's taken care of and replace that. You got to do your driveway, you got to do your gutters and your downspouts. Well, a lot of this infrastructure and a lot of the homes up in part of Boardman that were developed in the early 40s and 50s and 60s, that infrastructure's been there and has not been changed out since then. And that was the responsibility of the township once it got released, but there's no funding. So, very extensive. Yeah.